I don't know.
So with Mike on vacation, we had Steve as our chief IT person.
Oh boy.
Managing our Zoom, and Jesse, we live stream the meetings.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Nice. Guess I can't come in my ball cap and look like a scrub in the morning.
Well, you can.
That's
You
nice
can,
clothes.
yeah. Quite all right.
Ryan usually does.
Yeah.
You can see, I think we're gonna be good. You can see me clicking all over.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Well, good
yeah.
deal. Let's
wait, 'cause
call.
there's one
No,
for each.
yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
see
yeah.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Let's call our first meeting to order. So we have 3 entities meeting today. The first one is the Yates Capital Resource Corporation. And we'll call that to order here at 8:33. And we'll start with the introduction of guests. And so we have Jim Moon in the room. Thanks for coming in, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
This is his first meeting today. Jesse Jane here is a local business owner, has been involved in a couple different businesses, and he's also a Yates County legislator, and he is our legislative representative serving on our boards here today. So welcome, Jesse. We look forward to having you
Thanks.
contributing to the IDA. And we have Mike Perry attending from far away, and Steve Meyer with Harris Beach on the line.
And we also have on Zoom, we have Annie Stahl from Cuca College.
Nice.
Chief of staff.
All right. Welcome, Annie.
Yeah, Russ is on as well. I'll spare you the video. I see I actually got COVID at that conference.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. That's where I'm assuming I got it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining as well, Russ.
Yeah.
Hope you get feeling better.
Thank you.
Do we need an executive session for this entity? Okay, so we'll move right along. The last time we convened this entity was in October, so we have our minutes from our October 18th meeting for review and approval. Start with and ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Janice.
Second, Mary Ann.
Second, Mary Ann. Any further discussion, comments, changes?
I'll abstain, I guess. I don't know.
All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. On to changes in the agenda. I don't think we have any. So turn it over to Doreen for the finance report.
Yes, I have 2 checks today that total $774.50 and consist of check numbers 103 and 104. One is for 1099s and the other is for the half of the director's insurance that is split between CRC and Finger Lakes Horizon.
Okay.
And that's all I have to report.
All right, and as for a motion to accept the report and approve paying those 2 specific checks.
So moved.
Thank you, Janice. And a second.
Second.
Mary Ann. Any further discussion on the finance report? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. So on to our action items. We have 2. The first of which is the election of officers and our committee appointments. And so this will mirror what we did in December for the Finger Lakes EDC, but we need to do it for this entity, and it's our first time convening since then. So I have the slate of them here. So it would be myself remaining in the chair spot, Mary Ann and vice chair, Steve as treasurer, secretary is Serene, and assistant secretary treasurer Janice. And then we have our committee appointments, and they're in the minutes from the EDC meeting. I don't know that I need to go through and read all of those right now, unless anybody has any questions on those. Or would you like me to say them out loud? Because I'm certainly happy to do that. I have them here.
Don't we have them in here? No?
They're in your minutes, yeah.
They're in the minutes from our IDA
EDC.
meeting. There were very few changes. It was Kim was our outgoing board member, and so to replace Kim, we plugged people in those roles. So,
Okay, we like that.
looking to approve the slate of officers and the committee appointments for this entity. So we would ask for a motion to do that.
Motion to approve?
All right, thank you, Mary Ann.
Second.
Second, Janice. Any further discussion,
real quick, when you make the motions, if you can remember to say your name, after it's another state deal. Your people
Oh.
online.
Oh, I
have to
thought
do
we
that.
had to do that when we were online.
No.
Sorry, Steve.
So, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's carried. And then for the bank signers, appointing the bank signers, is that,
Basically, it's the officers and myself and Mike.
okay. So the officers, Steve and Mike, would be the approved signers. We do have it where we require 2 signers
Yep.
on all of the checks. So for this entity, approving those signers. So I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
So moved, Janice.
Thanks, Janice.
Second, Mary Ann.
Second, Mary Ann.
All right, Mary Ann.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna be tight.
Any opposed?
We're gonna
Okay.
switch it up.
Carried.
Yeah.
All right, with that, that concludes our action items for the agenda today, so I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the CRC meeting.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Second, Janice.
All right, so we are adjourned.
Jump in anytime.
Okay.
We have Steve and
I gotta
Jesse
get the landlord.
volunteering. this
Hey,
afternoon.
yeah, no, there's.
You guys move
You guys
quick
doing
here.
great.
You ever been to a Yates County Legislature meeting? That takes about 2 hours, so.
Yeah, so
I
these,
I get swore at if I keep you here for 2 hours.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Oh, wow.
yeah, so this next entity will actually have there's some meat to the agenda. But, so we'll convene the meeting for the Finger Lakes Horizon Economic Development Corporation here at 8:39. And guests remain the same. Do we need an executive session for this entity?
We do need an executive session to discuss the financials of a company.
Okay. I would ask for a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you,
I'll
Jan.
second.
Second, Steve. All right. All right.
Uh,
So we're
Actually, I guess I just go.
approved to go in. join us again?
Looks good, Steve.
All right, well, I gotta get back to Zoom, which I'm on, and find where I hit Anna.
If you click participants, Steve, it'll pop up and then show that she's related.
It's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever had to do that, so.
All right. We're good.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to exit executive session and convene an open session.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Second, Janice.
Second, Janice. All right, we're back in open session. And we'll continue on our regular agenda here. And item 3 is the review and approval of our minutes from our last meeting, which was November 15th. The minutes are included here in the packet. I'd ask for a motion to approve.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Thanks, Mary Ann. And a second?
I'll second it, even though I wasn't official last week, but last month, that's okay.
Yeah.
Second by Steve.
Okay.
I'll
Second.
abstain again since I wasn't here.
Okay. Any comments, questions, additions to the minutes? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Just abstains, okay. Very good. Do we have any changes in the agenda? Anything to add? Okay, I'll turn it over to Doreen for the finance report.
2 checks today totaling $844.50. Again, the other half of the insurance and 1099s, 1098s. And that's all I have to report there.
Just to clarify, it's paying for the 1099s
Right.
and 1098s to be sent out, so it's, yeah.
They were all mailed on time.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, okay. So we have just those 2 checks as part of the finance report. I would ask for a motion to approve paying those items.
So moved, Janice.
Thanks, Janice.
Second, Mary Ann.
Second, Mary Ann. Any comments, questions, additional discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. So for our action items, our first 2 look familiar. That's the election of officers and our committee appointments. I will ask for a motion, and if it's all right with everybody, then we also, for our bank signers, the officers of the board and Steve and Mike are the approved signers on behalf of the organization, and we require 2 signatures. So I'd ask for a motion to approve items 1 and 2, which include both of those items.
So
If that's
moved.
okay.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Second, Janice.
Seconded, Janice. Okay, do we have any questions or further discussion on those 2 items? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. So item 3 is we have a pending loan application from Plum Point Lodge. I'll turn it over to Steve or Mike here to give us an overview and the motion he'll ask for.
Yeah, I can handle that. The loan review committee has recommended a loan to Plum Point Lodge to assist with the reconstruction of a seawall and construction of a new event pavilion along the shoreline of Seneca Lake at their event and hotel restaurant destination. Loan request is for, loan amount would be $120,000, interest rate at 6.8% for 7 years. Mortgage on the, collateral for the loan would be a mortgage on the property. The mortgage amount would be enough to cover both their existing loan and the new loan. So additional mortgage will be filed. UCC filing on the assets of Plum Point Lodge, as well as a personal guarantee from Dave Linnell. Total project cost is $215,000, and is projected to create looks like 9 new jobs over 3 years.
One more contingency would be the Plum Point receiving all of their necessary permits and approvals prior to the closing.
Thank you.
All right, so with that addition, and as stated by Mike, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
Made by Steve.
Thank you, Steve. And a second?
Second by Janice.
Thank you, Janice. Any further discussion?
Do we have the contingency noted in the
Yep.
approved? Okay.
Yep. And just added to the motion that was made and then would be, yep,
Just double checking.
yep. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is carried. So that concludes our agenda for the Horizon EDC meeting. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Second.
Second,
Janice.
All right, we are adjourned. We're getting good at this here. Okay. Third one's the charm, so we'll call the next meeting to order. This is for the Finger Lakes Economic Development Center, and it is 9:02. We still have all of our guests. They're sticking with us this morning. That's good. Do we need an executive session for this entity?
Yes, I don't think it'll be very long, but again, to discuss the financials of a particular company.
Okay,
I don't think it will be very long.
so that's for motion to enter executive session.
So moved, Mary Ann.
Thanks, in a second.
Second, Steve.
Self-sufficient.
Gotta do it to you again, Annie.
No problem.
It's gonna cost you a second. changes to the agenda, are there any other resolutions?
What's that?
If there are added resolutions, are there any of those things that we need to?
Oh. Yeah, we gotta add, yes. Need to add a couple of resolutions to it.
But or is there any sensitive information in that, in those discussions that would need to be in executive?
I don't,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're probably,
Yeah, we can kick Mike out of here?
yeah, I think you're probably good, Mike.
Can't hear him.
You're on mute. We'll assume you said something smart.
Always do. Okay, I'll have my cell phone on me. If anything comes up, I can pop on and answer anything. So,
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Mike. Enjoy your
Enjoy.
trip.
Enjoy, Mike.
Have fun, Mike.
Thank you.
Are we back?
Um,
Must be fun to have Rob on the loan committee, like, going from the master, like you would be the Janet.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I remember
yeah, we're good.
with the IDA, he was on it, and it was
Yeah.
fascinating. All right. I'm sorry. We're gonna ask for a motion to enter open session.
So moved. Janice.
Thank you. In a second.
Steve?
Steve, thank you. All right, we're back in open session. And our next item on the agenda is the review and approval of our minutes from our last meeting, which was January 17th. Ask for that motion.
Motion to approve?
Steve?
Second, Mary Ann.
Second, Mary Ann. Are there any comments or questions, suggested changes?
Abstain.
Okay, just understood. All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Jesse is abstaining. Okay. So then we move on to item 4, which is changes in the agenda, and we do have some today.
Yeah, we need to add, under action items, I guess we call it supplemental project authorization for Chrysantha Inc. And, I don't know what the actual title would be for the next one. For Sabre Finger Lakes, a resolution for
Just an assignment authorizing resolution.
assignment authorizing resolution.
Got it. All right. And we'll explain what those are when we get to those.
You don't know?
No? All right. So those are 2 additions to the agenda. We'll move on to item 5 then, which is the finance report. So in our packets, just to say, we include a profit and loss statement for the month. We include a profit and loss statement year-to-date compared to budget. There's a balance sheet and a balance sheet to budget. There is the loan, call them loan capitalization reports, that just tell what are the funds we have in the different funds. We have loan repayment reports that identify if there are late payments on any of the loans, and that's broken out by the different funds that we have. And then Doreen, prior to the meeting, it's hard on the timing side of things, but tries the night before to send out the check detail, which shows the individual checks, and so that is included in the packets as well. You can see all of the checks that are being put forward to be paid. So they're all here for our review and information. And Doreen might have some highlights and different things to share with us. She tries to call out attention to the specific checks. So our motion is, when we get there, is asking for really accepting all of the information, the overall report. We're just really accepting that information, but then approving payment on those specific checks. Sorry, by way of just background information and what that entails. So feel free to ask any of the questions on the financials provided, and the team will do their best to answer those. So, sorry, Doreen.
No, you're fine.
Turn it over to you.
I have check number 6469 to 6488 and E-158 to E-162, totaling $41,734.51. There's a gap in the check numbers from last meeting to this meeting due to, Yates County gave me the wrong pipeline amounts to be paid, so those checks had to be voided and redone. So it makes a little, if anyone keeps track, I try to keep track to make sure that they're, and I also have from the revolving loan fund check number 1293 for $1,086.15. We had a new loan. They're doing ACH payments, and she thought it went to the revolving loan fund when it should have went to Finger Lakes Horizon.
So it's just to move
So we
the
wrote a
money.
check to move the money to where it belonged, so at least we got the payment, so. And she's fixed it on her end, so we're good with that. On the profit and loss, there's a little bit of a loss, but we, paid the New York State retirement, which was $39,593. We usually pay that in December. We did a little bit of a discount, but with the interest rate for the money market and our CD, we made more money leaving that there than what the difference was.
We made more 1 month's interest
Yeah.
than
What the
the discount would have been to pay it in December.
Yeah, so that one got paid in January this time. Other than that, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary on that.
So I'm new, but I do have a question. We have an erroneous deposit.
So that's
That's what she was just talking about.
the revolving loan fund check I was just talking about.
Oh, that's what that's.
So we got
Right here. Where they had to pay it to the other corporation.
Gotcha.
Because she paid, the client paid it into the wrong one.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
I know, but I saw the name on that, made me giggle, but I knew Dorian would cover it.
We do have a number of projects we previously approved that are now getting very close to closing, which is when we receive the project participation fee. So we should start to see that line item increase here, hopefully by our next board meeting. We should get a couple of those done, I would hope by then. So that'll help that aspect of it. And just, I guess the newer board meetings, or board members, you can see the tally up all the active loans. There's now 50 active loans that we have money out to various businesses with, so it's still a pretty active, it's an active source of our program here, is utilizing those funds.
Trying to read the late payments, and when it has the days next to the late payment, is that how late it was paid? Am I reading that right?
Well, I
Or-
don't, this loan software work program. Oh, you mean on the aging report?
Yeah, sorry, hopefully I didn't skip ahead.
Nope.
It's okay.
For some of them, Brock's is paid in full,
Okay.
and I'm still trying to figure out how that software calculates some of this stuff, because those, what the payoff amount, what it says is outstanding is not correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
We should work on that.
Yeah. Teresa Hogan should be good. And, yeah. Anybody knows any questions?
There's one, let's see, speak too much to it, Jesse, but there's a page, it's this one.
I think that's what he was looking
Is that the one you were looking
Yeah.
at? Okay. Yeah, Brock's is paid in full. But yes, the other ones are showing where they are in the payment history.
Yeah, and so there's one, it'd be the fourth one, that has the largest number of days of delinquency. That has been put into collections, so there's an attorney engaged to pursue that. It's still showing on this report. But Steve and team, that's something that we talk about at this. The loan committee asks about that too. They'll talk about the specific collection stuff more probably at the committee, but we try to make sure that anytime there's an action or they're moving forward in that direction, that they're brought up and talked about here at this board too. That is something that we would talk about in executive session with it being a specific legal action on a particular company. Okay. Well, I guess let me start with a motion. Someone make a motion to accept the report and approve paying those checks for the detail.
I'll make that motion, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse. And a second?
Steve, a second.
Steve? Is there any further discussion or questions on any of the finance report material? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. Now on to the status reports. So there's a monthly management report that goes through, the team puts down the different meetings they go on and then tries to give a highlight of some of the key initiatives they're working on. And, yeah, turn it over to you guys. Doreen, do you have anything to
I
add?
do not have any updates unless anybody has any questions.
Okay.
Mike is not here. So just update is, it's a crazy busy couple of months, especially for Doreen, is we have two things that were taking up a lot of time. One is auditors coming very early. Need to go through a whole request a ton of information from Doreen on that aspect. Concurrently, we are trying to get project information in from all of our companies that have a loan and our pilot with us. We have to submit all of this data into the state's database every year. Calculations of total incentives, total pilots paid, how much they received, how many jobs they have, using a different calculation than what companies use. So from now through March is a ton of process work within the office anyways. We're getting better at least the collection of company data every year. And Doreen's got the audit thing down, I'd say pretty well. We get through it quick every year, so it's that part's taking a lot of time and effort, so it's fun to see that actually go. It's actually fun to see the data come back from the companies, because you see where the jobs are being created. And
Just gonna ask Greg, do we have in March, will the auditors be here?
Yes.
Okay, because then they want to present that in draft form for the committee to the board to review and approve those before they're finalized, and they need that to happen.
Yeah.
I think we
need
came
to
up with the
attach
deadline,
those to
the ABO.
the ABO
deadline.
parish report.
yeah, our
Financials,
those
yeah.
reports we have to submit by the end of March to the states include the approved audited financial statements.
And
In
Steve-
general, if you wait till the last day, the system crashes. So you gotta you gotta get in. You gotta get in ahead of time.
So those draft audit reports would be in our packets the next time, or as early to us as they can get to us, and it's one for each of the entities.
Steve, just a question on the reporting of all the companies that we loan and support that you're putting into the database. Do we do any community communication with that, with the local paper and the radio station and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yep. It's been a little bit more challenging with the paper, just because they don't have the staff they used to, and so they sort of rely on us to get them the information, and then we get busy and I don't get them necessarily the information. But these we tend to get out pretty quick, because it usually shows us a pretty good
Yeah.
performance metric. So
Yeah.
and there is a push to get that information out more publicly, not just here, but because we actually have a pretty good, or not a pretty good, we have a really good relationship with our news media outlets here. That isn't the case throughout the state. And
Right.
so there is a push at the state EDC level to get other IDAs throughout the state to put forth what those performance metrics look like and share them with the community. Because the one thing it does, and the biggest misnomer, is again that if a company is getting a pilot, that they're making no payments. And there has been some wild accusations thrown out there by certain state legislators, specifically trying to remove school pilots from the IDA ability to abate those pilot bills, those property taxes. And they came up with some astronomical number that were, quote, costing schools through pilots, and the number was so completely factually wrong. It was more than all of the total abatements throughout the state for every municipality in total. Like it just, the number was just fraudulent, but they threw it out there. So it helps us, it helps all the ICE be able to show, because it will tally up for you what the total pilot payments made were by county, school, and then local. It kind of just lumps them into all the town and villages get lumped into a local segment. So yes, we will, and there's a push statewide to get everybody to do those sort of reports.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there a way that we partner with the recipients in a proactive way that's not, I'm not saying we want to say their loan amounts or anything like that, but partnering with them to say, can you post this on your social media, can you link to us, or create a broader community of impact. Just start planting a seed to try to get one step removed from, the school board tax issue, right, and try to get more positive out there where people would be saying something like, it's great that FLDC supports spotted duck or plum point. It's something with jam. So that we could create a package for them or a reason for them to link to our social PR, whatever we do, and write it in a way that's more end user friendly, as well as, reporting out to the businesses. I don't know, Jim, you might have some input on that as well.
But with the notion of how many jobs potentially this could create.
Yeah.
For Plum Point, it's 9 jobs, and I'm not sure with
Yeah, I
spotted
think
duck, but
we have to figure out whatever that message is. I don't know what it is,
Yep.
but
It's a great idea.
pending the positive, because you usually have a really positive story, but it kind of gets stuck at a business level.
Right.
How do we get it into vernacular that the community would be talking about?
Follow up with you on that?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great. That's a great idea. Not just for here, because statewide, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, all those networks are out there.
Post social updates and posts.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not expensive. It's organic, but you got to do some work, but it's not expensive.
Good.
The updates I'll give, seeing my visits and meetings, there was one, the first meeting there is from the realtor who is going to be listing the former Beverage Baron site. That's the site, I call it the Beverage Baron, it was the
Next to the hotel?
across the street from Duncan and
Ugly piece of property
the,
on the
Oh,
corner.
the
on the
corner
corner across
one.
from the hotel
Yeah.
and Duncan, that little corner.
The one they
area.
cleaned up all the schmutz in there?
Yeah.
Diane's hot diggity dog.
That's from going way back.
East Side Grill.
the sign's
East
still
Side
there.
Grill.
East Side Grill.
There we go.
Ugh.
So hopefully that'll start being marketed shortly. If it hasn't already, I don't know if it's on the active listing sites or not, but
He does have his sign up.
The sign's there.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
I drove right by this morning. I didn't even see the sign.
Well, it's been there only a month now.
Yeah, but I drive there.
I try to ignore it.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
It's
it's
causing me
Something
anxiety
happened
for
there.
so long, but
Yeah, I just bring it up because that
That's
is a question
exciting.
we get asked a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a long ways
Doesn't
from
help
anything
the community.
happening, but this is a pretty big step forward, I think.
Yeah, that's huge.
We did do a tour at the Finger Lakes Museum. We made a stop there when I was showing an individual around the county. The construction of the actual museum, the physical structure is well underway. The footers are in, and you can start seeing outline where the various different rooms and such will be of the museum, which is also very exciting because it's been a long time coming for them to get to that point.
Where's the location, Steve?
It's in Branchport. It's
Former elementary school.
Branchport Elementary School. So if you're heading into Branchport, sort of behind the firehouse, there's a little entrance you can take there or loop around and enter off Guyanoga Road. So they're, and they should be, they're excited about that, as I think they should be. Just one update, I don't know, I wanted to just make sure, I'm not sure my number is completely accurate on the occupancy tax revenue. I had my first bullet point. It did go up 17%. I don't know that it's 1.7 million. I don't know if those numbers, that was just me jotting down 17 twice. And so I'm not entirely sure that it was actually 1.7, but it did go up 17%. That came out of the tourism roundtable, so I want to make sure I was at least clear on that I'm not clear on that.
Clear, not clear.
Right. And then just, I guess the last updates from the EDC conference, which actually Steve Balbear was at as well. You know, to just reiterate that it was interesting. There is a definite feeling of business is slow throughout my colleagues. They're not seeing much in the way of project activity. We aren't that way. I think we're unique in that from what I just heard from people, but even local businesses and businesses throughout the state are also sort of saying things are slow right now, which, you know, I don't know any reason to point towards it or to it or not, but it's not as busy as it had been last year at this time across basically all industries. There was a lot of talk clearly about, and I don't have to get into it more than what I already have listed here, the various state programs that are going on and mandates. Climate Action Plan was talked about a lot. A lot of workforce development money, trainings and discussions, a lot of housing development discussions, how to address that. I would say that I was at, Governor Hochul was at MCC yesterday to present her board, or in her words, her proposed budget. She also announced this year's DRI and New York Forward awards. New York Forward is mini DRIs for different communities. So Waterloo, which to their good for them, they won the $10 million this time through, and then Macedon and Gates, I think. I already forgot who the second New York Forward group was. I think it was Gates. But anyways, they announced that I'll just bring up that she reiterated in her discussion, and this is the concern, and I had discussions with Phil Palmisano late Monday night at the conference, and if anyone knows Phil, he's our assemblyman. He's pretty even keel, like he doesn't get too hot or too cold. I had him all wound up. He is really upset with the current budgets of what's being put out there. It's as frustrating. The whole overall demeanor of everybody is really, really frustrated right now with what's being proposed and put forth in the budget. Especially for rural communities, it's tough. The school budget, the school funding aspect is crazy, and what concerns me is that Hochul spoke to it directly again last night or yesterday at MCC, not backing down. That she's stating that many schools have high cash reserves, and if that's the case, then they don't necessarily, clearly they don't need as much in-state funding. What fails to get talked about is often, at least right now anyways, is the schools are trying to put in cash reserves to handle the cost of electric school buses. For Penn Yan, I think that number is $23 million in electric school buses they will have to purchase. Penn Yan is considered the wealthiest school district in the entire Rochester Finger Lakes region. And already as such, they only get about at best half of what most schools get in any state funding. So any reimbursements, they don't see as much because of the current formulas. So as they try to save up for this, and it's not just Penn Yan, they're all trying to save up for these buses. That's being held against them.
it. Yeah.
the scary thing is that the amount of school funding increase for the entire Finger Lakes Rochester region was $27 million in her budget. So she's increasing school funding $27 million for this 9-county region. So $5 billion since she's been governor for school funding. And rural schools, specifically with a lot of lakefront properties, are getting crushed with this. And also, I think in certain cases, if there's a large amount of Mennonite or Amish population, that's a double effect, because they're also paying forth school property taxes, but sending their kids to their own schools. So enrollment, you're seeing a decrease in enrollment and an increase in assessed value, and so she's saying that funding is not accurate. City school districts have been complaining for a long time that the funding formula is out of whack, and that they need more help. So I'm guessing that finally made its way through. So a couple of the different larger city school districts got to the governor and said, this isn't fair, change it. And unfortunately, the change came and with no notice for these schools. There was the superintendent from Hammondsport schools in an interview. There seemed like a 31% cut in school funding for this year. To equal that, to make up for that, he said he'd have to eliminate all the sports programs, which is a given. I think every rural school is probably gonna have to look at that. All of their other extracurricular clubs, drama. He actually mentioned honor society they'd have to do away with. Their entire transportation budget, so there'd be no more busing kids to and from school, and 90% of his elementary school teachers.
90%?
90% to equal this year's cut. That's just to equal that cut, what that means in the funding cut for Hammondsport. It's not quite as bad in the other schools that I'm aware of, but it's still significant. So she, in some of her comments, she was stating, ask them, tell them that we've added $5 billion, tell them 27 million more is coming to schools when they're fighting this stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, but and again, according to the superintendents, there was no notice. So they opened up whatever letter they normally get from the school or from the state that outlines what their funding is going to be, and just surprise, here's a 31% cut. And oh, by the way, you've already done your school tax levies and all that. You got 45 days in which to figure out how to make this go. So a lot of the local legislators think something will change, something different than what she's proposing will ultimately come out. But I think the schools, I'm less optimistic that it's going to be what it was. I think there's going to definitely be some change, and I think most schools can probably handle it given enough time. Say this is going to happen next year or 3 years from now, and then give us some time to get ready for this. But that's it. And the only other interesting thing, which we're going to have to get with all the town supervisors, mayors, the county. She is also stating that if you want state grant money, she specifically mentioned DRI or Main Street grants or anything like that, you're going to have to be a designated pro-housing community. This is something she tried last year. It didn't work. She was trying to mandate zoning and like overruling local planning boards and such. Clearly that didn't work. She got a lot of pushback, so she came back and she said, people said I needed to give carrots, so she's like, so at my presentation I had the biggest carrots I could find and set it on the table and said there's something like 600 million. I don't have that number right, but there's a lot of money out there for pro-housing communities, of which currently there's 20. That if you want access to any of these funds, you've got to be pro-housing. And what I'm not sure of is if ESD capital grants are also going to be included in that. And so, if so, our communities are going to have to try to go get this designation, which generally it's not, I don't think, I'm gonna look into it more today, overwhelming. For upstate communities, I think you have to add like 0.33 housing units or something like that from what you currently have. And I think in Yates County, most will hit that, just even with secondary home builds. I think we'd actually get there. And what we're trying to propose, I think we'll get there anyways, but you know, regardless, it's going to make it a bit more challenging for everybody to have to get a state designation if you want this funding, so.
I don't know how it ever worked. I mean, every town limits how many residential structures you can have per parcel. I mean, there's no town I know of in Yates County that allows more than one residential structure per parcel because of our septic issues, so it'd be kinda tough.
That's the ongoing challenge and the pushback a lot is that these are one-size-fit-all mandates that don't work, especially, I mean, the electric bus thing is the one that everyone's like, this is nuts, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And oh, by the way, the state gave themselves a 5-year buffer that they didn't give anyone else.
If we can come back,
Yes.
Janice has to leave here
Oh,
shortly. And
okay.
so there's a couple items that I
I'm
have
good.
to abstain from.
I'm good.
So I want to make sure we can vote on those while we have a quorum that doesn't include me. So I'm going to skip around a little bit so we can do those, because
Sure.
you're coming up against it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first action item is the CD renewal, and I can turn it over to Steve or Doreen if you could just give that. You guys have the handout of last night reading out what the rates are.
We have a list of the rates here. I guess the only, Lions National Bank was the high rate for all of them, across the board. All the different various term links for the CDs and the money market, so we'll definitely suggest the money market go to Lions National Bank. Question would come up over the length of term for the CD we want to enter into, because they're all the same interest rate. There is, I guess, a notion out there that maybe interest rates, longer term interest rates could start to come down. So does it make more sense to go towards the 6 or 12-month term? Sort of.
Do we need the money?
No, so if we needed the money, we can get it out of the money market. We have enough in the money market to be able to pull from if there was a need.
Yeah.
So we could, yeah, there's no real danger in locking it up for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my thoughts. The longer the better at this point.
Yeah.
Rates are projected to come down.
So then 12 months then?
I support
Sounds
12.
like it. Yeah.
Okay, then 12 months at Lions National Bank.
And I abstain.
Do we need a motion?
Discussion.
Do we need a
do need a
motion?
motion.
Yeah, we'll need a motion to approve our CD at 12 months at 5.25% at Lions National Bank, and the money market at Lions National Bank at 4.6%.
So moved. Janice?
Second, Steve?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
All right.
All right, and then we'll move on to the Anka Ventures term modification. There was a request from the borrower. It was a previously approved loan that has not closed yet. The approved original term was a 5-year term. The request was to keep the term, or the loan committee's recommendation was to keep the term at 5 years, but to offer a 7-year amortization. So the payment plan will be based on 7 years, but due in full at the end of 5. So that is the change, is to let the payment plan kick out to 7. That was the recommendation of the committee. I'm going to abstain from the vote, as it's a current loan customer with Lions Bank, and would.
With that,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Steve?
Second.
Thank you,
Janice?
Janice, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained.
I
I
abstain.
think we need to hold out to get a little bit of ice cream testing in there.
Yeah, that's right. Samples.
All right,
Samples.
then, can you vote on the?
I can just disclose that. I think we're fine, because you're past
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
sticking it out.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you, Janice.
Thanks,
Okay.
Janice.
I have to call in virtually for March.
Okay,
I'll be on Monday.
Okay.
okay, all right.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good
See you
month.
next month.
All right, so with that, I want to go back up to item 2. We just skipped and we did items 1 and 4, but go back to item 2 under action items, which is the resolution to appoint our bank signers like we did for the last 2 entities. This entity we did convene in January and already approved the slate of officers subject to the county appointments and reappointments. But now to do the bank signers, so the slate of officers and Steve and Mike are the authorized signers for checks. So I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion. Jesse?
Jesse, thank you.
Second, Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. Item 3 here, there looks like there are 2 leases for consideration today.
They were in the,
My status report.
in the status report, but if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
There is one change on the LC Whitford, I think that's gonna 11 months. They want it starting March 1st through the end of January, I can't count. That'll probably extend another month or so, but
11 months. Good.
All right, so extending that one to an 11th month lease
Yep.
instead of the 10, and then cancel for 1 year. Okay?
I might have missed something. So are they leasing buildings that the FLEDC owns? Is
This,
that?
yeah, so.
In
the-
here.
Yep,
Okay,
they're
gotcha.
within this complex
Okay.
here, yep. So James Hanson is kind of right across the hall here, Jesse, and then LC Whitford is moving into 3 of the suites in the front of the building.
Along this front hallway, there are
Hallway.
suites 103, 4, and 6.
Can't say no to people that want to pay us money.
So with that in
LC
mind-
Whitford, they're doing a bridge project for the town of Milo, so they need a temporary
Okay.
office conference room space.
So,
Okay,
motion to
yes, we'd
approve
ask for a
that.
motion to approve those 2
Yeah,
leases.
motion to approve, Mary Ann.
And I'll second, Jesse.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is carried. So then our last 2 items today, there were additions to our agenda. So item 5 is a supplemental project authorization for Santa Inc.
Yeah, so this is, we referred to it as, pass this down, as Water Street Townhomes. So this is a project that Santa Inc. is proposing, and the project has changed since the original, it's been modified, I should say, since its original approval, which we gave back in
2021, I think.
2021. So originally, the number of units was going to be, I don't know if I even brought that, I think it's in the resolution. He reduced it by 2 units,
12 to 10?
18 to 16. So it was originally 18, March 17, 2021, we originally adopted the final resolution. There was going to be 18 condominiums, townhomes. He's dropping it down to 16, I think basically on site requirements. And then because of the length of time, both interest rates have increased and his cost of construction. So there was slight modifications in what this little weird chart I handed out to. I just thought it might be the easiest way to kind of show the differences. They're relatively minor. So the land clearly is the land, that hasn't changed. His building costs have gone up substantially. That's increased just shy of 1.2 million. Infrastructure's increased $50,000. Soft costs are the same. So his original project estimate was $4,765,000. It's increased to $4,765,000. It's increased to $6 million. The impact on the incentives, so we approved our straight leaseback incentives for him, the property sales and mortgage tax. Again, you see the difference in the previous and the current. The additional cost in the building and the infrastructure does impact how much he'd receive in sales tax exemptions. So it's going from $128,000 in projected savings to $200,000, so a $72,000 difference there. An increase in his mortgage to cover the additional cost is resulting in a $13,000 increase in his mortgage tax exemption savings. And then actually, property tax abatement we're projecting to be slightly less than what it was back then, and that's mainly due to the tax rates have decreased since then. The total rate was 31.64 back then. It's now 29.9 now. So not much change, and again, of course, there's 2 lesser units too, so that helps to make that be a little bit less in total savings. The context of this one, by the way, is different from our normal pilots where we have a straight 10-year or 15-year pilot. This is as he sells units, they will get stripped off the pilot. They'll be removed. So those projections are only on a 5-year model of, by the time he builds them and sells them, this thing will be done in 5 years. So he has an incentive to go. And he's pushing us, which is good. So this one got delayed in part because, again, he's going through the condominium association, so he had to get state attorney general approvals, and it took him a long time to make his way through that. Luckily, not as long as it took him to get through for the moorings, but it took him a long time. So we brought it to Steve because Chris is asking for whatever documents he needs, and we thought it changed enough that we should bring forth. We had him fill out a new application showing the differences, just so we have it as proof for our files to go forward, and if the board is still okay with incentivizing housing units, which
I gotta keep my hand. I'm the code officer in Penyon right now, and I was just staring at these blueprints yesterday, and
Okay.
he definitely doesn't have any building permits or anything on it yet. There was some issues on the plans, so yeah, I don't think I should probably vote on it being the code officer on the project right now. So I'm only going to be code officer there until May, because the new guy will have his license. So yeah, I'll just kind of.
So you can't prove it.
so we can't prove it.
Sorry.
We don't have a quorum.
Unless you think it's okay if I do it as the code officer, but it feels like I'm doing all the inspections, so I don't know. So
What's comfortable for you?
yeah.
I don't think so. I'm not.
I mean,
The practice to turn it.
I don't think there's a conflict, but legally, I don't think there's
Hey,
a
if
conflict.
you're the legal guy, if you think
Yeah.
it's okay if I'm the one doing the inspections and looking at the blueprints and everything,
Yeah.
then I don't mind doing it, but I thought it might be
Hey,
a
it's
little.
Russ. I don't see it as a legal conflict either.
Okay.
I guess the bigger question, though, optically it may not be looked at perfectly. The bigger question I have is, do you have the requisite votes if he would have abstained?
No.
No.
Well, it's an appearance of conflict. It's not a conflict legally.
Okay.
So, it's really at your discretion how you want to proceed.
I'm fine with it then. Yeah, that works.
So how's the rest of the board feel? Like that's.
I'm fine with it, only because it's temporary, it sounds like.
Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of code officers to go around anymore. I'm also the Village of Dundee part-time and Barrington full-time. And so, yeah, as long as they can find someone that'll stay, it should be.
Well, I thought they had somebody.
They do have someone, but you never know. You know, it's like
yeah.
covering for him for now. So hopefully he's doing his training, and in May he'll be taking over full-time. So.
Well, the reality is that it is okay.
Yeah,
It's
as
legal.
long as in our
So
meeting
even if it
minutes,
doesn't,
we
yeah.
have Russ's,
Yeah, and we're talking about, it was a previously approved
yeah,
project.
Right.
And so it's just a modification and wanting to make sure we're recognizing that the project has changed.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
You know,
okay with
while
it.
we're talking, he has other banking with Alliance National Bank. I am not involved on this project. And nor is anybody on my team that would be the loan officer, but it may be at Alliance National Bank. I don't know if it's been 100% decided yet, but, so that is an appearance of conflict, but not one that I'm involved in.
No.
So I feel comfortable voting on it that way. I've removed myself from the discussions at the bank side of it too, because we've already talked about it and approved it here at this body. So I'm okay to vote on it, as long as I say that out loud and make everybody aware of that. You're good?
Yeah, no, sounds good. I'm okay with, I was just, I want to make sure I'm doing things right.
So in the
Yeah,
minutes,
so-
we'll make sure we note it's a previous
Yep.
project coming back, just amending the project totals with it, and we're basically approving the modification,
Yep.
recognizing the
Just acknowledging the
modification.
change in scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the, we live in a great, small town, small community, but there's
Yep.
overlapping hats
Yeah.
at times.
Yep.
So
I fully
it's-
support, I mean, I thought it was a cool idea forever. I like it, so I think it's gonna be good.
Okay,
Okay,
then that'll be a roll call.
it'll be a roll call vote. We ask for a motion to approve the proposed change in project incentives.
I'll make that motion, Steve.
Okay, in a second.
Second, Mary.
Ann. And Doreen with a roll call vote.
All right, Ryan,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Jesse.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
So then, item number 6 then we had is also an addition, so it's a resolution for an assignment authorization, and it's the Sabre Finger Lakes project.
Yeah, so essentially what we got here is Sabre Finger Lakes. They're gonna be transferring the property to Immerse Finger Lakes, which is a single-member LLC, same membership structure as Sabre. Typically, after noticing that this was a deal that closed prior to us coming on as council, typically what we see is we're okay with assignments so long as it's to a related person, which this would be. The old set of documents basically says any transfer needs board consent, so that's really all we're doing here is just consenting to the transfer, and really the incentives are going to transfer to this new LLC, which again is wholly owned by Antonio.
So same person, but for their own corporate structure
Yep.
reasons, wanting to.
Yep.
I
And
imagine
Sabre's
the
gonna stay on to
liability-
operate.
Yeah. Moving the property into a holding company or an LLC.
Yep.
And just a comment, these are both prior approved projects with minor changes. That's why they're late additions to the agenda. It's not the common practice to walk things on at the kind of the last minute and not in a board packet. But that's what happened in both of these cases, not wanting to, realizing we only meet once a month, not wanting to delay the companies for another 30 days. So.
And if they were new projects, they wouldn't have been too bad if they came this late, but.
Do we need a motion for this?
Relatively.
We are gonna, I just wanted to say that out loud as part of that, and thanks for your, flexibility on that, and just to, to newer members, that's not the common practice. But small enough and time sensitive, thought it was appropriate today to do that. So, yeah, we would ask for then a motion to approve that resolution to allow the assignment.
I'll make that motion. Jesse.
Jesse, and a second.
I'll second, Steve.
Steve, thank you. All right, and Doreen, it's a roll call vote for this one too.
Ryan,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. We ended up having quite a bit with the 3 different meetings and everything going on, so thank you for your time and contributions. Our next scheduled meeting is March 20th, the 3rd Wednesday in March. So thank you. We are adjourned.
We get late additions at the legislature 5 minutes before meetings. And it's like, wait, how much money is this for? Yeah, so. Yeah.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Mary?
Second, Steve.
We are adjourned.
Doreen, when do you need these back?
Yes, I do.